Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carson Windle, and this is Friday night at the Barbell.
And I'm Bryant Wood, and today we've got Corey Elder and Heather Grimes with us. Corey, the wife, dog mom, MBA, nationally qualified natural bodybuilder, elite level drug tested powerlifter, and Heather Grimes, the dog mom as well, international elite level drug tested powerlifter, fitness influencer with 63,000 followers on IG and 185,000 followers on TikTok, and NASA employee.
Thank you
Welcome,
for the hype.
ladies. Also, ladies of Strong Inc.,
What up?
right?
Yes.
So, we're going to open it up with the controversial question. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Why?
Well, I think if we're classifying it, it would be more like a taco
Mm-hmm.
than a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Because a taco's not a sandwich. It's just like
Let
something with
me,
meat in between.
okay, let me give you this one. A Subway sandwich is not cut all the way through, but it is a sandwich. It is even titled such. They don't cut it all the way through. It's like they almost cut it and they don't.
You were swaying me a little bit, but then I thought about Jimmy John's and I was like,
Hmm.
that's a sandwich.
Yeah, but like,
If we're talking technicality here, it is bread, it's a meat, there's condiments, there's things you can put on there. But I think, especially in America, a hot dog is it's like an American staple. It's just a hot dog. So technically, yes, but
right, kind of like how taco's a
idealistically,
taco.
no.
I think it's more about the direction you eat it. Because you don't eat a hot dog bun up. Like you eat it hot dog up, bun open. So that
You could
makes
cut
it
it
more
as a
like a
sandwich.
taco. Right, you could, but that'd be odd.
Like Carson said, it is two slices of bread with meat or some other subject in between. And some people say a hot dog is a slice of bread with something in the middle, and the bread is merely a vessel for the meat. I think Anthony Bourdain said that it is just a vessel for the meat to be delivered.
This is too high level of thinking for me. I
Good,
can't.
good. Mass employee can't imagine a hot dog being a sandwich.
Not sure where I stand on this issue, so I need to do more research before I
Okay.
have an opinion at the end.
Yeah, you do research. Yeah. I think we'll just get right into the Q&A then. Let's start with Corey. What was your path to the weight room? Were there high school sports involved?
So I wouldn't really call it high school, honestly. That's not really where I got into my weightlifting. Started off in Crimsonet in college, and really after I quit twirling, I said I had to do something. Like, I know my body type. I know I'm built like my dad. If we sit around, we're gonna get large. So I started going to boot camp classes, and that's where it all kind of began.
Is that like a beats and guts?
It's like it was weights, cardio, everything. Like it's a
But
full body, like dumbbells, not really barbell kind of stuff.
getting fit.
I'm getting fit,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I got like ripped, but I wasn't like muscular.
Is that why you chose to do bodybuilding first, or?
So the bodybuilding thing sort of comes from my mom and dad started getting into weightlifting. And that was my mom wanted to bodybuild and she got sick. And so she was like, I think you do really well. You've already got the pageantry down. Like, that's not going to cause you any issues. And so that's what I did. And coincidentally, my first coaches were powerlifting coaches.
When did you start bodybuilding?
2016.
High school and high school sports? Did they make you lift weights, or did you run?
So I have played sports my whole life. I had a softball bat in my hand at the age of 4. My brother played baseball and my dad coached him. So honestly, probably before that, I was running bases at his practices. So I played softball, basketball, and volleyball growing up. Even did gymnastics at one point, did ballet at one point. Have some really cute pictures from that. Um, then after high school sports ended, I was kind of like, I can't just do nothing. I did work out some in high school sports. We did do a little bit of weightlifting. Actually, the football team's weightlifting coach was our weightlifting coach for middle school basketball. So we were doing like squat, bench, deadlift in middle school. So I did have some experience with all of that coming out of it. And oh, speaking of injuries, yes. So I did tear my ACL my freshman year of high school at JV basketball practice. So that was really cool. I had to sit out of sports. I had to sit out of softball, basketball, and volleyball that season because that was in summer practice. And yeah, that was really actually a horrible recovery. But I had to do a lot of like single leg lifting to get back to where I was, get like my muscle mass back. So
Did you have a hamstring or a cadaver?
I had a hamstring graft. So
They say those are the way to go.
yeah.
So, good.
And I have like minimal scarring from it. So, I mean, I don't have one of the big gashes on the front of my knee like a lot of people do.
And it doesn't hold you back from lifting.
No, it doesn't actually. I haven't had any problems with it at all. Honestly, it's like it never happened. So, I mean, I did for a few months like after that.
Yeah.
After my recovery was over, I definitely could like I was always scared like playing softball. I was scared to slide into the bases and stuff.
Where did powerlifting come along, or like kind of your, I guess your vision for, I want to do like something with like fitness, or how did that come about?
So just right after high school, I just started working out, and I started going to Crunch near campus, and that gym just got really, really crowded after about 2 years of going there. I was like, I need to find another gym because I was pretty serious about working out, and not everyone there really is. So I was like, I kind of need a smaller gym, something like what I had back home. And eventually I found Strong, which is where we all go. And a couple days after being there, I saw everyone's friends there, and I wanted to be part of that. And everyone does powerlifting, and there's like a board on the wall with people's like numbers, and I'm like, I want to be on that. I want to do powerlifting. This is cool. So I asked Charlie at the gym one day. I went up to him and I said, do you know someone that can coach me for powerlifting? And he said, yeah, I have the perfect person for you. My best friend, Gary Brewer. So I got a coach and I started powerlifting and I signed up for a meet. So
That was 2021?
2021, yeah.
2021.
It was in the fall. So
Brand new. Already international elite. Brand new.
hey,
Must be nice.
just cut down to 114 and be a female.
Yeah, just cut my legs off. It should be fine.
Just dive in.
Of course, lifting weights, nothing else. And then, Corey, you did bodybuilding in 2016. So then, what transitioned you to powerlifting? Because you did a powerlifting meet not far after that. A year after
It
that?
was 2017.
Yeah.
First one. I was really gung ho on the bodybuilding thing, and luckily enough, my coaches convinced me after doing 3 shows that I needed to take an off season. But so they convinced me to do my off season, and they're like, "Think you could be pretty good at powerlifting too?" And I was like, I don't know about that. But my grandfather was a power lifter, huge into it, but he's very natural. Like, he never competed in anything like USPA. But I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot just because he used to beg me to do it. Let's test it out. But it really was never something that I thought was my first sport until you asked me, like, when you finish this prep, let's do it. And that was in 2020.
Yeah. That
So
was the hard prep.
it was.
Tough prep. What did you, that prep, what did you get up to? And then what did you come back down to for that bodybuilding show?
Oh, so my last prep I used a different coach. I wanted to see if the bro method would work. I bulked up to 170.
Yeah.
Which I've never been before and haven't been since. And cut down to 132 on stage.
Dang.
And I can't imagine being 132 right now because I'd probably have crazy
There's a weight
muscle.
class.
Oh, yeah, but I would be so not strong.
So, what are some things, just like for me, because I kind of competed in powerlifting, and I've kind of gone back and forth a couple times, but for me personally, like with bodybuilding, it's kind of your motivation is different, whereas you're going for a look, and it's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to stay motivated kind of later in prep because you're getting weaker a lot of times with like bodybuilding, whereas with powerlifting it's kind of a different motivating driver where your numbers, and a lot of people say like powerlifting can be like more fun because you can kind of track your numbers, and as you get stronger that's kind of more, almost kind of more fulfilling sometimes. But what in like y'all's opinion, what do you think as far as like what are some pros and cons of both?
So bodybuilding to me, like just based off my own experience, like yeah, you're getting weaker and weaker as it goes on. And for me personally, I get crazier and crazier. And as far as like the look goes, and like, yeah, you know you look good and you know you've worked your ass off to get to that point, but like what if it's not there on show day? What if that's not what they're looking for? Because all the judges are different. And I think at the end of prep, when you get into that like last few weeks, it's just like I don't care anymore as long as I make it there. But
Yeah.
powerlifting to me is a little bit more fun because at the end of it, you're seeing like I am getting stronger.
Yeah.
I see the light at the
It's
end
a
of
little
the
more
tunnel.
absolute. It's more like
Yes.
You had a pretty tough prep for your last powerlifting meet, which you said at the end of a bodybuilding prep, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you just don't care because it's so tough. But that last powerlifting meet was very similar in that it wasn't there on meet day like you wanted it to be. So even though it's a less subjective sport, it still requires that
yeah.
intensity towards the end. And when you lack it, it'll show up regardless of the stage, whether it's bodybuilding or powerlifting. So, Heather, you've built a pretty big social media presence. What does it feel like to have that kind of platform? And what does that platform mean to you? And where do you see it going within the next 5 years?
So, what does it feel like? To answer that, sometimes it doesn't, I don't realize that I have that big of a following. Sometimes I still just feel like, I mean, it doesn't feel any different than what it was before I had the following. Like when I'm in public or I'm at a gym or something that I don't normally go to, and someone comes up to me and they're like, "You're Heather Grimes," like, and they want to take a picture with me or they recognize me, and it's weird. I don't expect that to happen. Because I just kind of, when I started social media, it was just a fun thing. Like I was just posting because I enjoyed it. I just like to overshare my life in general. I was like that before I started social media, and so I guess some people just gravitated towards that, and my following grew. What does it mean to me? Well, I think for a while it took me a while to kind of realize like the impact that I have on other people. But I think I've finally started to transition my platform into something that I want to use to help people, and teach people and inspire people to get into lifting, that it's okay to get muscular, that there's ways to fuel your body and eat right, and not like being skinny isn't the only way to have the look that you're going for, your dream body. That's not all that there is, and that lifting is fun. And I don't know, I just really enjoy being able to inspire and motivate people, and so I'm really grateful to have the platform that I have.
I think it speaks a lot to you because you have a lot of eyeballs on you a lot of the time, and people maybe not as much like waiting on content, but like they'll see it when it's there. And it speaks a lot to you how genuine you are because you actually, even around us, like we notice it. You don't really think about that you have a following. You just kind of do you. And I think it speaks a lot that you say that as well. That's how you approached when you built up, and that's how you'll finish with it as well.
Yeah.
Where do you think you're going to go with it within the next 5 years? Anything different?
I just hope it keeps growing at a steady rate, and that like the direction that I'm aiming in right now for like keeping that platform of helping people, motivating people kind of stays. I don't want it to turn into anything that I'm not. Um, I just kind of want to grow at a steady rate, and I maybe one day turn it into a full-time career, not just content, but like maybe coaching and a mix of content with working with brands and things like that. But yeah, just keep growing. I mean, sometimes it feels stagnant. Social media is tough.
Heather, so do you feel like pressure sometimes? Like, because you put out pretty regular like content on your social media. Do you feel like sometimes it's like, I know it's really fun for you, but do you ever feel because you have all those people that watch? Do you ever feel pressure like, Well, you're like, I don't really want to like post anything today, but you're like, I gotta.
In that way, no. Like if I don't feel like posting, I just don't. For the most part, I do enjoy social media though, and like I like to just share about what I'm doing. I'm an oversharer, but for the most part, no, it's not pressure that I feel like I have to post something. But I do feel a lot more pressure, I feel like, when I compete than most people do, in the sense that people have been following along with my prep for so long and they know I'm competing that day. They're DMing me, asking me for updates, asking how I'm doing on things. They see my updates, they're waiting for that post, the meet recap, and it's like I feel almost, I mean, I hate to say more pressure than anyone else because that's not really true. Everyone's got the same amount of pressure to perform because they've all put a lot of work into their prep, but it's like if I have a bad meet, it's like now I gotta go on social media and type out that I just went 3 for 9 in a meet. Like it's just, I mean, there's pressure in that sense where I feel like if if I have an ugly deadlift that day and I'm like I pulled it but it was really ugly and I'm like I want to post this but I'm like so many people like I'll get DMs from people like that form is bad, your back shouldn't look like that, and it just sometimes I feel like there's just a lot of eyeballs watching me and there is pressure, but that is the thing about like yeah, yes, it's always those people. But that is the thing about like not having social media as my full-time job is that if I wake up one day and I'm just not feeling it and I don't want to post, I don't have to because it isn't my like full-time income. I mean, it's not even a significant really part of mine. So
I just thought of this just from talking about little troll kids. But do you get all the comments like sumo's cheating? You do
yes.
sumo, you're
Yes.
cheating. I was telling Brian this, so this was like a while back, but I commented on one of Larry Will's posts. I never like comment anything like, but I was like, I can't remember what I said on a video of him like squatting. It was like 600 for reps, and he was like half squatting all of them on like a safety post. I said something about it, which I never do that. It's stupid. But I just got it happened to get like a few hundred likes, and I just got absolutely melted in my DMs. Like you pull sumo, you faggot. You can't say anything. Or it was like, kill yourself. You pull sumo. I'm like, jeez.
Yes, I get a lot of those. And I get a lot of people who have never done anything with powerlifting that are like, "This is why you hurt your back because of my arch on my bends," or like my gym buddy can do that without the silly arch, and like it's just like I get some weird stuff.
Stay on the bench.
Probably not. He's doing hip thrusts on the bend.
Corey, what is your least favorite thing about the fitness industry?
So when I was looking at this question,
They're ground.
Influencers.
I hate the influencers at the gym and their stupid tripods.
Shout out, Goose.
Shout out, dude.
like Carson's brought this up at the gym before, in like the respect of I was thinking about bodybuilding and powerlifting. Like in bodybuilding, my thing there was it was so frustrating to do like okay but like know that I wouldn't be able to take it to the pro level because I wasn't on anything. And then you go, okay, well, I'll compete naturally. Well, I could have been natural like the first show I ever did, like natural pro. And I
Right.
don't want to do that. But then you've got in powerlifting, people are cycling off their stuff and coming over to compete in drug tested meets, which we've talked about this stuff before. And that's just what it pisses me off. I feel like there's not a place for
There's
the-
not like fair game.
right. It's never going to be fair. So,
Well, it is unfortunate that you can't even get like a normal playing field with everyone not on something. You can find it sometimes, and it has to be a super local meet, but even still, you'll have somebody that's like, I want
Exactly.
that first place because I need it in my trophy case.
but on the other spectrum, on the other side of the spectrum, one thing that's really good about the fitness industry in general, specifically powerlifting, that I said was the camaraderie and just everybody there wants you to do well. Like, yeah, maybe you're fighting for the overall whatever, but like it's still pretty badass when you watch some girl squat 440 or whatever the hell it was. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
I do think the bodybuilding community is pretty good most of the time in the like in terms of like the crowd and everyone around supporting everybody. Maybe not on stage as much, but in powerlifting, definitely it seems like the community aspect is what brings a lot of people to the sport and keeps them in the sport.
right.
Because it's
Yeah.
kind of, I mean, to be honest, it's boring sometimes, a lot of times.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for the community, like most people probably wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Heather, is
Yeah.
your least favorite thing about the fitness industry?
My least favorite thing about the fitness industry, I can mainly speak to like the social media side of it too, is fake people, fake natties, and people with God complexes based on their follower count. I mean, as for someone I've been to like the summer shredding at Alpha Elite, and like that is basically just like an influencer convention. And I'm talking when you walk in that room, it is like your follower count is on your forehead, and it determines who comes up and talks to you and who you are and what you get to like. I mean, it is just like a whole thing. Like, I just think that that's kind of, as someone who's kind of part of the fitness industry, I hate that that's a thing, and I hate that people think they're more important than others based on a follower count.
Yeah.
And I think that comparing yourself to others is also a killer of the fitness industry. Like how social media and fitness is so much bigger now than it used to be. There's so much comparison that goes on. I mean, I think about like I'll go pull something at the gym one day and I'm like, man, that was good. And I go home and I start scrolling on social media and I'm like, man, that wasn't good. Like these people are pulling like crazy stuff. It's just like you see because of social media, you just see everyone's success so much more often.
I like the dichotomy though, because you have Corey saying her favorite part is community, and your least favorite part is also community. Just on that side though, like the social media side of the community, where it's the influencer side.
So when I went to First Form's event, this 2 weekends ago, that was probably the coolest community I was ever like. Everyone was so nice, everyone was so welcoming. The second you walk in the door, you're almost already tired of the smiling and the hellos and like the acting like you're best friends and like you've known each other for forever. And
Nice.
I feel like at the First Form thing, it wasn't about followers, but that also is like a very different side of the fitness industry. Like it's an older community. Like I would say a lot of people there are like moms and parents and their families and the like Alpha Land summer shredding event is more like a teenagers, early 20s, like let's see who's the most shredded and
Hair.
yeah. I mean it's a very different scene, but there's good and bad to that.
Well, then, what is your favorite part of the fitness industry?
I will say the community, but no, I mainly mean it's like I think that as where I said it's tough that social media has become such a big thing and that it can be a like comparison can like really knock you down a few notches. I think it's a good thing that social media has pushed fitness out there so much because I think it's bringing a lot more people into the gym. I think it's getting a lot more people into saying like, hey, that looks like fun. I mean, or I want to get stronger. I see someone else doing that, and I think it just spreads awareness for like living a healthy lifestyle, just getting in the gym and stuff. So I think now that like social media has grown the fitness industry too, and so the people make it great.
Very good.
Right.
Very good.
I would say my least favorite part is like kind of back in the day. It was I used to love to like get on YouTube and like look up just different workouts that people were doing, and I thought it was so cool. And like I watched a lot of Bradley Martin and like Matt Ogus and all those guys, and I basically did like whatever program they were on. That's what I would like run, and but it seems like kind of over the years, it's like so many people make money from social media now and YouTube, and when you are fake or Photoshop or whatever, and you're gaining whenever you can make money from misleading people or lying to people. Like if you're say for instance you're on Instagram and you're photoshopping all your pictures and you're like, do this like tea cleanse and it will make you drop 50 pounds in 2 weeks. That's kind of annoying, and you see that a lot now.
Fake natty selling creatine.
Yeah, and just like people that are geared
Chinese creatine.
geared out of their mind, and they're like, oh, try this BCAAs, like you'll get jacked as me, and they're like saucing their face off. But that's probably my least favorite. As far as like my favorite things, it's probably like kind of similar to what y'all were talking about, just like the community, and I've met a lot of like really cool people, some of my really good friends through lifting and going to the gym. And whereas it was like I always was big into sports too, and I always was really close with my buddies that played sports, and it's and kind of that kind of transition now, like when I go to the gym, it's kind of the same type vibe. So that's cool. But
Lots of bromance.
yeah, for
Always
sure.
around.
Lots of sweaty dudes.
I think that would probably still be my like favorite thing about the fitness industry or the community in general is very welcoming pretty much anywhere you go. And even most of the people that you meet in real life, they are not playing a character that they do on social media. Like they will do that for social media, but even if you meet them in real life, they're an actual person. They're a human being and they talk to you. I met John Call, Juji Mufu, who probably has one of the craziest personalities on social media. And he was like super nice, very genuine. He's from Alabama as well. So it was pretty interesting. We kind of connected and talked about that. But like, that's what I like most about it is everyone is genuine when you actually meet them, like by themselves. When the camera isn't on, even if they're a TikTok broccoli head star, they probably have a genuine personality if they would turn the camera off.
Most.
That's what's good about it.
All right. So, Corey, if you could meet anyone, past or present, in the fitness world industry, who and why?
So I picked two people.
Okay, that's cool.
Rachel McLeish, because I think she won Olympia. It was like the third year there was ever a Miss Olympia, and she kind of like changed the bodybuilding arena to be like, you don't have to be a little dainty housewife. It was in 1980, and you can be beautiful and have muscles, whatever. So I think it would be really cool to meet her. She's like 60 something now. And then powerlifting side, I would really like to meet Heather Connor because
I was gonna say her too. Well, she wasn't my one person.
she's the deadlift queen. Like,
She seems awesome.
She
Anytime I
does.
see anything she does, or any kind of talk she does, it's always
Yeah.
super,
it's
super
always
genuine.
chill.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
All right, Heather. If you could, if you could meet anyone, past or present, fitness industry, who and why?
So I was gonna also say Heather for one of mine, for some of the same reasons, but she's just super inspiring as a small girl that lifts a lot of weight. I'm like, I want to freaking do that, and she just seems so cool. And then my other one is Steffi Cohen. She is just not only like a complete badass, like she's so strong, but she's also experienced in a lot of different sports. I mean, she's in boxing now. She's just like seems to have lived a lot of lives, and she's also a wealth of knowledge. Like she's very smart. Every time I see her posting things, I'm just like, I feel like she's like the dictionary. She knows so much, and I just could sit down and talk to her forever and ask her so many questions. She's so cool. So,
DPT, she played collegiate soccer as well.
really, I didn't even know that.
That's why she's a really good athlete.
Yeah.
Partially.
So I think last time I said Chris Bumstead because I mean he seems like an awesome person. Just earlier I mentioned Matt Ogus. I would love to sit down and just talk to Matt Ogus. He was like one of the first people I started watching on like YouTube. I ran like 3 of his programs that he put out and made like tons of progress. He's so articulate and kind of like he's very attention to detail is like because he says he's recorded like every single workout he's ever done for like the past 5 years, every set, every workout. But he also, on the other hand, he also has a family. He's married with children. And it seems like I know you can never really tell through social media, but it just kind of seems like they have like a good something good worked out. So I would kind of just like to sit down and
I
talk
wonder
to
what
him.
his
Maybe.
phone storage is like.
He's got like I think he said he has like terabytes and terabytes
Dang.
of like videos just saved.
Cornwall and everything.
Yeah.
I think if I had to pick another one to meet, I'd probably just go with Mark Bell because
Yeah.
that's kind of how I started powerlifting.
Belly.
Because when I used to watch old super training videos and just see them going to town in the little
Yeah.
rinky-dink brick gym they had,
Yeah.
and then
And they would have like the best like guests come on, like all the strongest people in strongman powerlifting. They would have them come and just like do a heavy deadlift. Or
yeah,
something.
and even you know, before he started all the running and new things he's doing now, I just remember when I first started kind of lifting, I didn't really know anything, obviously, and still don't, but back then, way less. And I remember going to the gym and seeing, oh, well, they did banded bench. I'm just going to throw bands on this and just hit triples until my arms hurt. So I think it would just be funny just to meet him and
Yeah.
just talk and actually just thinking, because I probably wouldn't be anywhere I am now without
Yeah.
finding super training.
Shout out Mark Bell, Slingshot.
Shout out Matt Ogus.
Shout out Matt.
Corey, if I told you to close your eyes and I said, imagine platform is ready for Corey Elder, what lift is on the platform?
I'm ready.
I think everybody sitting here knows what this answer is, but it's deadlift, 100%. Because I like to smash a good deadlift.
Like to smash. We like to smash. Heather,
I need you to
platform
spell it
is
out.
ready for Heather Grimes.
Okay.
What is it?
I'm shaking really bad. I'm sweating. I have tears starting in my eyes, and it's the very first squat of the day. And my legs are shaking, and I'm about to unrack it, and I can't feel or see anything, and I black out.
But we get the lift.
That's it. Yeah.
Nice.
White lights.
3 white lights anyway.
Repeat the process before every single lift. You got lots. First question: are you still natural? Yes. I also got another question about that. I got two questions about that.
Fake natty, Heather Grimes.
Not even Turkesterone.
No.
Debatable.
Let's see. Why USPA or WRPF over USAPL? USAPL is the most competitive and impressive considering stiff bar. Well, truthfully, the reason that I initially picked USPA to compete in is because our USPA federation in Alabama is just so big. Like USAPL isn't really big in Alabama. There's not really a lot of meets. I think there's like two meets this entire year in USAPL. At the time when I got into powerlifting, the guy that owns our gym, he ran USPA meets. My coach ran USPA meets. So, I mean, it was just what I got into. Everybody at our gym does USPA. I also really like a deadlift bar. I mean, I've competed in mostly drug tested meets, so it's still, for the most part, drug free, I would
Yeah.
say. I mean, I guess if you think stiff bar is most impressive, then that's okay. But I mean, it's honestly just not that big here, so that's why I got in USBA.
And I've said it a million times, but honestly, if you're deadlifting less than 500 pounds, you're not really getting anything out of a deadlift bar
Deadlift bar,
anyways. It's pretty stiff up until that point. So this weird gatekeeping that USAPL people do of you're not strong unless you're in the USAPL or PA. It's like it doesn't really matter. For us, it's all about accessibility.
For the
Like-
people that I know that deadlift a lot of weight, it's like they'll be like hit a deadlift bar PR, and they typically are deadlifting on a stiff bar, and it's like maybe 20 pounds different. And
It's not really that
I mean,
different. If it is, they're more than not. They're like very technical sumo pullers with straps on as well, and they have very narrow grips, so they get even more bend. And I know when you first got into things, you probably didn't think like, "Oh, what's the most competitive that I can be? How can
I
I
didn't
get?"
know anything about
Exactly.
federations. Just whatever the most accessible to me was. I mean, I didn't even know USAPL existed when I started powerlifting.
Exactly.
I had no idea that
You weren't like trying to go to IPF
Just
in your
researching.
first month of
Exactly.
powerlifting.
And if you are like 100, if you're a male lifter and you're like 140 pounds, and you're like, oh, the USAPL is like, this is the best, and then it's like, don't tell a person that totals 2,000 that the USPA sucks if you're if your total is like 1,400 or whatever.
If you're a USAPL twink, just keep it to yourself because it's not even worth it. Like you're under 180 pounds. There's no dots in the jungle, just like there's no CPAP in the jungle. So like, it doesn't really. He's talking about men.
Just
Yeah.
on.
How do you think height affects performance in powerlifting and in bodybuilding? I don't really know about bodybuilding, so you could touch on that after. But in powerlifting, I think that in general, short people kind of do have an advantage, mostly because of weight classes. So short people are going to weigh less, so they've got the same like muscle density as someone and they're just more compact and less range of motion. I'm short, so I would say I do have an advantage in some ways. Sometimes I feel like I have a disadvantage on bench. Like I feel like my feet are further away from the ground than most people, and I'm trying really hard. But I mean, squat and deadlift though, being short is definitely an advantage in weight
It
classes.
definitely can be.
With girls, if the girl is tall in bodybuilding, most of the time their legs are not going to be as developed as someone who's shorter. I always did pretty well in that department because, I mean, in the shorter classes are normally stacked too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, unless they're
It
doing
takes
something.
it's hard to fill out a big frame and in bodybuilding because you're going for the most muscle mass, so it's harder to fill out a big frame. I think, but kind of in both sports, powerlifting, bodybuilding, I think height plays a big factor. But I think arguably more importantly are just proportions because like you could be a you know, average heighted guy, but with shorter femurs, longer torso, and have a monster squat, or long arms and have a really good deadlift, especially like with sumo puller with shorter legs, or short arms, big bench, and kind of in bodybuilding, you can proportions play a lot, to how you're judged. So generally, longer limbs, if you fill it out correctly, it looks more aesthetic, and so I think proportions play a lot into it as well.
Next question. Can you explain how you keep a healthy relationship with food? So, I think the most important thing, like for me, is to realize that food is fuel. So, a lot of people get into this mindset, especially when they first start like a fitness journey, of thinking, I mean, most people's first goal is I need to lose weight. And so they come into it with the mindset of if I just eat less, then things will be better. And I think that it kind of makes a lot of people spiral into eating disorders and things like that. They get super restrictive, and then counting macros and calories becomes a really sore subject for them. So I think in order to keep things healthy, it's important to learn about food. Like I think that tracking my macros without restricting them, but just kind of tracking them to understand and learn what I was eating and what makes my body feel good was like huge in me having a healthy relationship with food because now I know a lot more about food. I know that what I mean, I can go out to eat and know a general idea of sort of what my macros might be and how I'm going to feel the next day because I understand food. So I think understanding food is important for keeping a healthy relationship with it and not just having the mindset that eating less will make you lose weight and make you look better. So these are good questions. What do you do when you lose motivation through 75 hard? So far, I haven't lost motivation. I'm on day, I think, 17 right now. The hardest part is doing everything every day. Like, there's not just one task that I could say, like, oh, drinking water is the hardest part or reading the book's the hardest part. I think overall, just making sure you do everything on the list every day and don't mess up. As far as losing motivation, I think that honestly it's been a good routine to be in. Like I'm like checking these boxes every day that are all things that are beneficial for me and it makes me feel really good at the end of the day. So I think every day kind of increases my motivation. At least right now. I'm not that far into it. I think once I'm on day like 45, I may have a different answer to that question, but right now no. Do you enjoy working from home? Yes, I love it. There are definitely some days where I wish that I had more human interaction and I went into an office and I got to like, obviously interact with people and stuff, but working from home gives me a lot of flexibility. Like I don't have to take off work to go get tires put on my car. Like the other day I had a flat tire and I didn't have any meetings that morning, so I was able to just leave and I had to sit at the tire shop for an hour and I could just do that. I didn't have to take off work. So there's a lot of flexibility with that. But so yes, for the most part. Does your coach write workout plans for anyone to buy? I like seeing the workouts he has you do, but I don't live in Alabama.
Dang,
Well,
no bad days
Bryant.
taken off.
Right? No, but shortly, yes. We'll have workout templates available for purchase.
I can say this. I'm gonna like just talk about Bryant for a second. So we're all three, myself, Heather, and Corey, are all coached by Bryant. Bryant does our programming, and I've done several different things, with strength training, but I've made absolutely 100% the most progress I've ever made in the past year and a half, or coming up on 2 years, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's very science based. It's not, you're not going to go in there and your nose is going to bleed and you're going to vomit all over the walls from just killing yourself. But it's very sustainable and easy to adhere to.
Yeah, a
It's
lot of
good
the
shit.
things that Bryant like implements into our coaching and like teaches us are things that I've also carried over into like some of my clients, like teaching that you don't have to push yourself to absolute failure every day to make progress. Like we're not here to just completely destroy our bodies. You can definitely make progress without just going balls to the walls every day. So, yeah.
I think we have the benefit of both of you being good athletes, though. So, really, anything would work.
I just want to know how you got so damn strong. I'd like to know more about your training. I'll pass this one over to Bryant because he's my coach.
That's pretty complex, but I would say, like we said a minute ago, you don't have to go into the gym trying to kill yourself every day. It really, with training in general, you get a lot more benefit out of going not as hard, or like 80-ish% on average. And then even back offsets that are less than that is typically the range we're at for most people. It just depends on the person. Some people prefer to push themselves a little harder, and then you have to find ways to get someone to do that. As far as how Heather got so strong, she's pretty much always been strong. It's just what direction can you take someone that is that strong? Any training would really work for her because she's a good athlete, but can you get her to direct the performance that we're looking for on the day? That's the kind of tough part of coaching. All right, I think that's all we've got for Corey and Heather. That's Corey Nico Fit on Instagram, Corey Elder, and Heather L. Grimes on Instagram and
And
TikTok
YouTube.
and YouTube. Don't forget our YouTube channel. And you can use
Code Grimes.
at Gymshark
And code Heather for Helomix.
for all of your
Shaker bottle need.
shaker bottle and clothing for the gym need.
For first form, you have to use the link in my bio. Sorry, it's complicated. We
First
don't
form,
do codes, we do support links.
first form's in her bio. And that's all from me and Carson Windle. We'll have Josh Sellers back with us next time. But that's been your Friday night at the barbell.
See you later.